The number one mistake I see home buyers make when buying a condo or a townhome or a strata property is not answering these questions before starting the search, which wastes a whole lot of time for not only themselves, their family members, but it also creates a lot of mental anxiety. So in this video, I'm going over the top questions you should be asking if you're considering purchasing a strata property, whether it be a bare land strata, a condo building, or a townhome. All these questions should be answered so you can save yourself a whole lot of heartache and time. Hey everybody, it's Mark here with Selling Kelowna Real Estate Group. If you've got questions, if you are considering buying in a strata complex, whether it be a bare land strata, single family home, or if you're going to be buying in a strata complex of 100 or 200 other condos, this is a video where you're just going to want to make sure you're also getting a personalized consultation and reach out if you're buying, selling, anything. The first one is where a lot of people look first, and knowing the strata fees and moving it forward. But let's talk about the contingency reserve right now. This is an important fund that really is well funded. A contingency reserve fund is really to prepare for any unexpected repairs and safeguarding a buyer's investment in a property. And it depends on the age of the building, how much should be in the contingency reserve fund. And really, if you're not building that up, then you might not be able to have a secure investment at the end of the day. Older buildings, if they don't have a good contingency reserve fund, let's look at why that is and understand, did they just replace a roof? Did they just redo the windows? Because all of that is normally exterior property and covered through the strata. And what is covered from the strata? Is it windows and doors, roof? Are normally covered with it. Any communal area is oftentimes covered with it. It'll also include landscaping, water, electricity, and potentially snow removal, depending on the type of common property. If you're in a condo building, the strata is going to be responsible for all the common areas. We're in a fourplex right now. It is going to differentiate from unit to unit and strata to strata. So you really want to know, what does the strata fees include and what is included in any repairs and maintenance that needs to do. If you're buying a brand new townhome like this, you're also covered through home warranty, which is the 2-5-10 home warranty, which we'll get into in another video. Next question you're going to want to ask, that kind of goes hand in hand with the contingency reserve fund, but has there been any special assessments completed in the last 5, 7, 10 years? How is this strata ran is really what that's going to indicate. If there's not a good contingency reserve fund, then there might be an issue, and you'll probably see some special levies somewhere in the minutes, in the last 2 years worth of minutes. If it is a newer building, there's a good chance there's no special levies. But if the contingency reserve fund isn't properly funded, that could mean a special levy could be applied. And what that means to you as a home buyer or to you as a home seller is you might have to come up with $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, maybe up to $10,000, $15,000, $60,000 to be able to cover the new expenses on it. Oftentimes it'll be going to vote, so you can get this information from the minutes, but just to be aware of it, if there's some big renovations to be happened, or if the roof, windows are all nearing their end of their lifespan, as a buyer, that would be a cause of concern, and you'd have to definitely budget and see how is the strata planning going ahead to be able to handle this. That's going to potentially make your home harder to sell. A contingency reserve fund isn't fun for anybody, especially the sellers, because you're planning to leave and you're not going to benefit from the new changes that it is. But to a new home buyer, you haven't occupied the property yet and you don't really necessarily want to make it. So that is just information you want to know, and maybe you factor it into the offer and it will all balance out. Next up, you're going to want to know what the strata bylaws are. You're going to want to read through that. And that's included in the strata documentation that is sent. But if you have any specific requirements, that we've already gone over the pet restrictions and the rental restrictions. However, you want to also gain, maybe if you have different families, trying to get a wheelchair ramp into it is going to be a difficult sale. We've been trying to get one through a council, and it's going to cost some money up front and no guarantee that they will approve it throughout the strata for a wheelchair ramp. So that is just something you need to consider for your individual needs. Is there something that we should be considering and looking at ahead of time before we get you into that property, and then you figure out you can't do it? And the next thing you're going to want to know is, are rentals allowed? This can, if you're not trying to keep it as a rental and you're going to occupy the unit, that might be not an important question that you're going to want to ask. The reason why you do want to ask that question regardless is, what are the rental restrictions if you have a young family? You're going to know what kind of people are going to be within the building. Are they all homeowners? Is there a mix of renters and homeowners? What is that mix? Because it's going to change the living scenario. And let's be honest, if you're renting a property, you don't treat it as well as if it were your own home. So that's just where you're just going to have to see who else is around you. And you don't want those kids jumping and running around on the floor if you're in a wood frame building and you can hear it above you, 7 o'clock in the morning, waking you up from the sleep. So that's just something to consider. For the pet families, you're going to also want to know, what are the pet restrictions? Do they allow pets? Do they allow dogs, cats, whatever your home is, or whatever you're even planning to? Maybe you don't have an animal right now and your future plan is to have one added into your family. That's something that you're going to want to look into and know what the restrictions are. Some properties will be very more graceful. There's certain properties like this. We're in a 4-unit, 1 self-managed strata, which we'll get into what the different management styles are. But there is a better chance you could change the bylaws in something like this than what you would be able to in a downtown condo. The next question you're going to want to ask is, what kind of construction are you actually looking for? Do you want a wood frame building? If you're buying a condo building, and that means that it's probably between 4 to 6 stories tall. And in that building, what a wood frame building is, why this matters to you as a home buyer, is because sometimes noise will transfer through. And so if it is a wood frame building, the chances of having noise transfer through the wood is higher than what it would be in, say, a downtown condo building that is made out of concrete. And if you have people above you or below you or beside you, you're gonna really start to care about how much noise is made, and also smells, and being aware of what the transfer is. So if you are considering buying in a strata complex, whether it be a bareland strata, single family home, if you're gonna be buying in a strata complex of 100 or 200 other condos, make sure you're also getting a personalized consultation, and reach out. If you're buying, selling anything strata in Kelowna, reach out, because we do have all the information available for you, and we want to guide you through it specifically for you, because it's not, just like every strata is not cut and dry. It's going to depend on you and your individual needs. So reach out, give us a call, shoot us a text message.